big institutions having their people's customers' identities compromised. Banks, Home Depot, right? Target, all these things. And I actually...
Has it happened to you yet?
It hasn't, but it happened to a friend of mine, and it's a real pain in the neck to get your identity back.
Okay, well, it's a real crisis, and we have an expert who can help us, prevent that from happening. He has a new book. It's called Identity Lockdown, Your Step-by-Step Guide to Identity Theft Protection. James LaPiedra, former member of the New York City Police Department, a security and financial expert, joins us to talk about his new book. Welcome, sir.
Great. Thank you for having me.
So this is great because it's practical, step by step what you need to do. So, you know, we hear about financial compromises, right? But now you're talking about there's something else that's going on that we all need to be concerned about. People actually stealing your medical identity?
Absolutely. Financial identity theft comprises about 25 to 30% of all identity fraud. What makes up the remainder are medical identity theft, criminal identity theft, social security number misuse. And all of those components you cannot detect with credit monitoring. So when you see a lot of these big breaches that are occurring, you usually get notified you have credit monitoring. Credit monitoring will not detect if someone hijacks an existing account, medical, criminal. So there's other things you need to do yourself.
Who's most at risk to having their identity theft stolen? Is there a certain kind of profile that somebody who wants to steal an identity is looking for? Good credit, that kind of thing?
Believe it or not, everybody's vulnerable. Everybody is vulnerable. So you can reduce your risk by taking the steps that I outline in my book. You can never
give us the top two.
You should be checking your credit report as well as other reports, your LexisNexis reports you're allowed to get for free, your credit history, your rental history, your medical records at least once a year, your driver's records. All of those things you can detect early on if you've been a victim of fraud.
That sounds like a full-time job trying to get that stuff done.
Actually, it's not.
It's not?
I do it for my clients. I'm a certified financial planner, and I do this for my clients on a regular basis. But I've actually taken all of the essentials you need to do, and you can at least do them once a year. My company, ID360, website is YourID360.com. You can get the book. But they're former federal, state, and local law enforcement officers that actually will step in your shoes to be your identity advocate if you do get compromised.
Should we be changing our passwords on a regular basis?
Absolutely.
Does that help?
It does. At least every 90 days. And it shouldn't be passwords. You should make it passphrases. They now have password management systems where you just need to remember one password. So if you have 15, 20 sites that you regularly visit, it'll automatically populate them when you visit that site.
Here's something I heard, getting the mail, potentially, like getting old-fashioned mail, you know what I mean? You may want to reduce that. Go online for just about everything because there's a lot of sensitive stuff in those envelopes.
Mail is stolen on a regular basis. You should really go electronic. It is safer.
Rosanna?
And you know what? I always thought that was the worst because you hear about everybody hacking into everybody's account. I figured
hacking is hard. Stealing an envelope is easy.
Even your recyclables, your paper recyclables, they're going and collecting because people don't shred their documents. The pre-approved credit offers, your insurance statements, your brokerage statements.
You think we should get a shredder?
Absolutely.
I feel like
absolutely.
that you're doing something bad.
Right. If you're running some sort of thing, you shouldn't be running.
And you should actually keep the shredder where you actually open the mail because if it's somewhere else in your house, you tend to just rip it up and throw it out.
All right. Well, there's some great practical advice in here. If people don't have the time to do it or just seem a little overwhelmed with trying to do this, you offer this service, right?
If you go to YourID360.com, if you register with us, we update you and we make it a lot easier for you to do this. But the real component, you can prevent and detect. The real the real coverage is the recovery piece, which we would have law enforcement do for you.
That's nice.
Meanwhile, want to make sure that we bring this up, and go ahead. I just called the control room. They have it. The dedication page is quite powerful here. For our protectors, the heroic men and women who serve and sacrifice in order to keep evil and darkness from ever touching the goodness of our lives. Wow.
There's so much good going on, as you know, former military man. Between law enforcement, military, it's all about protecting people.
Well.